Hello and welcome to my latest video on my top 1000 countdown of 2025. On this video we're going numbers 980 down to 971, so let us take a look at the fighter in 980, and it is Babet Shumenov. Okay, Babet Shumenov, who defeated 4 world champions. He fought 58 rounds against champions, and Shumenov beat no Hall of Famers individually. He did fight 12 rounds, of course, against a Hall of Famer, and Shumenov had a total of 8 fights against rated fighters throughout his career. Now, in terms of KOs, Shumenov scored 12 knockouts. 5 of those were inside 3 rounds or less, and Shumenov scored 3 first-round KOs. Now, as a rated fighter, he was top 10 rated in his career for 4 years. His longest unbeaten run was an unbeaten run of 8 fights, and he was pound-for-pound rated for 0 years. Now, against pound-for-pound fighters, Shumenov had 1 fight against a pound-for-pound fighter. He did not win it, so therefore scores no wins against pound-for-pound fighters over the 3 categories listed, and his opposition fought rate, okay, is 1 from 18, and his opposition beat rate is also 1 from 13. So when we go to Shumenov stats at the bottom, in terms of fights against champions, he has a total of 6, including 4 wins, 2 losses, no draw, and 2 KOs. He has 1 fight against a Hall of Famer, of course, that was a defeat. And he has a total of 10 world title fights. That includes 8 wins, 2 losses, no draws, and 5 title defences. So Shumenov is first in 980. Okay, when we go to fighter 979, we see it's a fighter called Katsushige Kawashima. Now, Kawashima, okay, defeated 3 world champions. He fought 62 rounds against champions. And Kawashima defeated no Hall of Famers, and he also fought no rounds against Hall of Famers. Now, against rated fighters, Kawashima had 8 fights against rated fighters. And in terms of knockouts, he scored a total of 21 KOs in his career, 12 of them in 3 rounds or less. And Kawashima scored 2 first-round wins. Now, as a rated fighter, Kawashima was top 10 rated for a total of 4 years. The longest unbeaten run in his career was an unbeaten run of 12 fights, and he was never pound-for-pound rated in my all-time rankings. He also had 0 fights against pound-for-pound rated fighters, therefore scored no wins against pound-for-pounders over the 3 categories listed, and his opposition fought rate is 1 from 18, and his opposition beat rate is 1 from 13. So, Katsushige Kawashima had 7 fights against champions, including 3 wins, 4 losses, no draws, with 2 KOs. He also had no fights against Hall of Famers, and in terms of title fights, Kawashima also had 7 world title fights, with 3 wins, 4 losses, no draws, and 2 title defences. So there is Katsushige Kawashima in number 979. When we go to fighter number 978, okay, is the aggressive and brutal Edwin Valero, whose career was cut sadly short. He probably would have gone on, possibly, to be a Hall of Famer, who knows, but he was certainly making inroads before his career was interrupted. So Valero defeated 2 world champions. He fought 19 rounds against champions, and Valero beat no Hall of Fame fighters, and he fought no rounds against Hall of Famers. Now, against rated fighters, Valero had 3 fights against rated opponents, and he scored 27 knockouts in his career. 22 of them were in 3 rounds or less, and Valero scored a massive 19 first-round wins in his short career. Now, as a rated fighter, Valero was top 10 rated for a total of 4 years, and the longest unbeaten run of his career was in fact his whole career of 27 fights. So just think, 27 fights and 19 of those were first round wins. Incredibly aggressive puncher. So in terms of being pound for pound rated, Valero did not get that opportunity. No doubts he may have gone on to be, but who knows. It's one of those things, people often come to me saying, well, Valero this, Valero that. Yes, he'd made a great start. He'd won a few titles. He'd built a lot of title fights. He had a lot of knockouts, but we never know how a fighter's career is going to go. I always use Ike Corte, okay, the bazooka, the hard punching strong welterweight champion, and he was unbeaten, you know, and then from his first defeat to the rest of his career, when you look, his career kind of fell apart, suffering more defeats. You know, it can happen, okay, we never know what's going to happen, but it's sad we never got a chance to see what he would have gone on to do. So Valero was never pound-for-pound rated. He had no fights against pound-for-pounders, thus beat no pound-for-pounders over the 3 categories, and his opposition fought rate is 1 from 18, and his opposition beat rate is 1 from 13. So Valero had 2 fights against champions. They were 2 wins with 2 knockouts. He had no fights against Hall of Famers, but he did start already building an impressive little title fight record in his short career of 8 title fights, all of them wins with 6 title defences. Maybe would have gone on to become a great fighter, who knows, but I'll never accept he would have, because he didn't. I'm very blunt and brutal that way. The potential was there, but sadly no execution due to his career being cut short. Sad, but it does happen and has happened before in boxing history. So on to our next fighter, fighter number 977, a fighter called Eddie Garza. Now Eddie Garza beat 2 world champions. He fought 59 rounds against champions, and he beat no Hall of Fame fighters. Eddie Garza fought 3 rounds against Hall of Famers. Now against rated fighters, Garza had 8 fights against rated fighters. He scored 22 knockouts in his career, 6 knockouts inside 3 rounds or less, and 2 in the first round. Yeah, big shout out to guys in chat. Drunk Irishman, Martin Dunstan. So being top 10 rated, okay, Eddie Garza was top 10 rated for 1 year. The longest unbeaten run in his career was an unbeaten run of 27 fights. He was pound-for-pound rated for 1 year in my all-time rankings, and he had 1 fight against pound-for-pounder, but did not win it. So therefore he has no wins against pound-for-pounders over those categories. You know, it seems that... Martin may have a chuckle, but it seems that every time I do one of these videos, I put some stats in where I've got to say, due to nature of the stat I'm showing, because they're for information, I always seem to pick some stats that I have to keep saying taglines on, you know, like because he's pre-rating here. Now I'm saying he ain't got any wins against those 3. So I'll be glad when the playlist goes on a bit to where fighters are fighting more fights against pound-pounders and getting wins across those categories. His opposition fought rate is 1 from 18, opposition beat rate 1 from 13. So against champions, he has a severe losing record from 8 fights. He has 2 wins, 6 losses, no draw with 1 KO. He has 2 fights against Hall of Famers, both of them defeats, and he has 5 title fights, including 4 wins, 1 loss, no draw, and 3 title defences. So there's Eddie Garza in 977. Okay, when we go to fighter number 976, it is a fighter called Jose de Jesus. Not everybody will be familiar with all these names. But, you know, all of them, many of them had very good careers or decent careers. Another reason why I chose to do the top 1,000 initially is I wanted to name call as many fighters as I could. And when I've done my top 500 after doing the top 400 initially, I thought, well, when I do top 1,000, that's perfect. So I'll be shouting out names of a lot of fighters most people don't talk about. So that's one of the reasons why I enjoy doing these big playlists, as well as the fact I love spitting out numbers non-stop. So anyway, let me have a drink. I'm over talking and babbling. Right, so Jose de Jesus. Now, Jose de Jesus beat 2 world champions. He fought 80 rounds against champions. He beat no Hall of Fame fighters, but he did fight 34 rounds against Hall of Famers. And de Jesus had a total of 10 fights against rated fighters in his career. Now, he scored 22 KOs, 16 of them in 3 rounds or less, and de Jesus scored 4 first round wins. Now, he was top 10 rated for a total of 5 years. The longest unbeaten run in his career was an unbeaten run of 8 fights, and he was never pound for pound rated. Jose de Jesus did have 1 fight against pound for pound rated fighters. He did not win it, therefore scores no wins against pound for pounders over the 3 categories, and his opposition fought rate is 1 from 18, and opposition beat rate 1 from 13. So against champions like Eddie Garza, okay, he has 8 fights with 2 wins, 6 losses, no draws, and 0 KOs. He has 3 fights against Hall of Famers, all of them defeats, and he has 6 title fights, including 4 wins, 2 losses, no draws, and 3 title defences. So that is Jose de Jesus in 976. When we go to fight number 975, okay, we see a Ukrainian fighter, okay, Volodymyr Sidorenko. Who was quite a good little fighter. Okay, if you go watch him, he was quite a good little fighter. a number of years ago, he thought, it's kind of, there's a lot of good Ukrainian fighters, and with recent Ukrainian history, I'm sure over coming decades, lots more fantastic fighters to the growing ranks of top-level fighters they've produced. Volodymyr Sidorenko beat 3 world champions. He fought 88 rounds against champions. He beat no Hall of Fame fighters, and he fought no rounds against Hall of Famers. And against rated fighters, Sidorenko had 9 fights overall. Now, he scored 7 KOs in his career, 5 of them in 3 rounds or less, and he scored 0 first-round wins. Now, as a rated fighter, Sidorenko was top 10 rated for 5 years. The longest unbeaten run in his career was an unbeaten run of 23 fights. He was never pound-for-pound rated in my all-time rankings, and he had the 1 fight against a pound-for-pounder but did not win, therefore scores no wins in the 3 pound-for-pound categories. His opposition fought rate was 1 from 18, and his opposition beat rate was 1 from 13. And the pound-for-pound category is interesting, because when we get higher up in Countdown, a fighter like De La Hoya, this may surprise people, but I think, if I recall off-head, De La Hoya had 13 fights against pound-for-pounders in my stats. I think he had 7 wins, 6 losses, no draw. But interestingly, from those 13 fights against pound-for-pound fighters, 9 of 13, were against fighters who were former pound-for-pound number 1 rated fighters. So having 13 fights, he also beat a few of them, Pernell Whitaker, etc. But from 13 fights against pound-for-pound fighters, 9 of them were against pound-for-pound number 1 rated fighters. I mean, that's an insane thing, as well as many stats or information from De La Hoya's career. So anyway, Volodymyr Sidorenko, he had 8 fights against champions, scoring 3 wins, 3 losses, 2 draws with 0 KOs. He has no fights against Hall of Famers. And in title fights, Sidorenko has 9, including 5 wins, 2 losses, 2 draw. And Sidorenko made 6 title defences, so a very good little fighter there, Volodymyr Sidorenko. In 975, when we go to fight number 974, we see his former light heavyweight Tavoris Cloud. Cloud beat 4 world champions. He fought 67 rounds against champions in his career. He did not beat any Hall of Fame fighters, but fought 12 rounds against Hall of Famers. And Tavoris Cloud had a total of 8 fights against rated fighters throughout his career. He scored 20 KOs, 14 KOs in 3 rounds or less, and 6 first-round wins. Now, he was top 10 rated as a fighter, for 5 years, and the longest unbeaten run in Tavoris Cloud's career was an unbeaten run of 24 fights. He was never pound-for-pound rated in my all-time rankings. He did have 4 fights against pound-for-pound rated fighters. He scored 1 win against pound-for-pounders overall from those 4 fights. He also scored 1 win against pound-for-pound top 3 fighters and 1 win against pound-for-pound number 1 rated fighters. His opposition fought rate is 1 from 18, and his opposition beat rate is 1 from 13. Not too long to see the first change there, by the way, as well, overcoming videos. So, fights against champions for Tavoris Cloud. He had 7, including 4 wins, 3 loss, no draw with 1 KO. He had 1 fight against a Hall of Famer. That was a defeat, to the old alien himself. And we had 7 title fights for Cloud, including 5 wins, 2 loss, no draw, and 4 title defences. So, from Tavoris Cloud, 974, we go to fight number 973. To former heavyweight champion Oleg Maskaev. Now, Maskaev, beat 2 world champions. He fought 35 rounds against champions. He beat no Hall of Famers and fought no rounds against Hall of Fame fighters. Now, Oleg Maskaev had 7 fights against rated opponents in his career. He scored a total of 28 knockouts, 15 knockouts in 3 rounds or less, and 5 first-round wins. Now, Maskaev was top 10 rated for a total of 5 years. His longest unbeaten run was a run of 12 fights, and he was never pound-for-pound rated, nor did he have any fights against pound-for-pounders, and therefore scores no wins against pound-for-pounders over the 3 categories listed. But his opposition fought rate is actually 2 from 18. There you go. The first fighter to change. Good evening to Paul Gaskell as well in chat. Good to see you, buddy. Hope you're well. Yes, everyone, the reason I'm doing the top 1,000 is because of Paul. I was chatting to him privately about my old channel, and he mentioned, yeah, but your top 1,000s are there, and I thought, oh, they are, that's bad, and I need a top 1,000 on my channel at all times, so that's why I'm doing it, because of Paul. Thank you for spurring me on, buddy, without knowing you were spurring me on. Sometimes you put good ideas in people's minds, sometimes without realising you're putting good ideas in people's minds. So yeah, big shout out to him. So opposition beat rate is 1 from 13. Now Maskev had 5 fights against champions, including 2 wins, 3 loss, no draw, and 2 KOs. Obviously no fights against Hall of Famers, and Maskev had 3 title fights, including 2 wins, 1 loss, no draws, and 1 title defence. So there is Oleg Maskev. When we go to fighter number 972, it is, some people call him Homer Gambo, some people call him Joe Magambo. Homer Gambo, okay, beat 2 world champions. He fought 70 rounds against champions, and he beat no Hall of Fame fighters, and also fought 0 rounds against Hall of Famers. Now against rated fighters, Gamboa had 9 fights in total. He scored 22 KOs in his career, 14 KOs in 3 rounds, and 6 in the first round. Now, being top 10 rated, okay, Gamboa was top 10 rated for 6 years. The longest unbeaten run in his career was an unbeaten run of 11 fights in total, but he was never pound for pound rated in my all-time rankings. Now, he did have 1 fight against a pound for pound rated fighter, scored 0 wins over the categories against pound for pounders, and his opposition fought rate is 2 from 18, and his opposition beat rate is 1 from 13. So against champions, okay, Gamboa had 8 fights, including 2 wins, 6 loss, no draw, 1 KO. That's a favourite record against champions off this video by the look of it. Eddie Garza, etc. Yeah, so fights against Hall of Famers is 0, and title fights he has 7, including 1 win with 6 losses, no draws, and no title defences. So people, there's 9 fighters down. The 10th fighter on this video, and the final one for this edition, is Steve Forbes, okay, former featherweight champion. Now Steve Forbes beat 1 world champion in his career. He fought 73 rounds against champions. He defeated no Hall of Famers, but fought 12 rounds against a Hall of Famer, Pitchard. Now, in terms of fights against rated fighters, Steve Forbes had 12 fights against rated fighters. He scored 11 knockouts, 7 of them in 3 rounds or less, and Steve Forbes scored 2 first-round KOs. Now, as a rated fighter, Steve Forbes was top 10 rated for 4 years. The longest unbeaten run was one of 14 fights, and pound for pound rated, Steve Forbes never managed to quite make it into. He did have 1 fight against a pound for pounder, obviously. Pitchard did not win it, therefore scores no wins over those categories, and his opposition fought rate is 2 from 18, and his opposition beat rate is 1 from 13. So yes, Martin's mentioned about the slides. Thank you for that feedback, by the way, buddy. I always appreciate feedback. Paul, what is your feedback on the slides? Do you think they look nice, and do they have like a professional look to them? Because I used to do them on just a generally sandy coloured background and list the stats at the bottom in a big block. I thought, on the last few top thousands I did, especially the last one I did, I wanted to change it up. I wanted picture on there, numbers on there, some bars on there with stats in, so all it took was some playing around, really. But you see, I keep templates for things. My stat matchup videos, there's a template. All I have to do is change the pictures and the stats. I don't have to redesign the slide every time. Same with career videos, same with all of them. So yeah, Paul, your thoughts on the slide look? Does it look okay? Is it professional looking, etc.? It'd be appreciated. So Steve Forbes, okay, ultimately had 7 fights against champions. He scored 1 win with 6 losses, no draws, and no KOs. He has 1 fight against Hall of Famer, that was a defeat, and he had 5 title fights, Steve Forbes, including 2 wins, 3 loss, no draw, and 1 title defence. So there is the latest 10 fighters on my countdown. Okay, another video coming tomorrow. Like I said, the first 10 videos will come one after the other when the first 10 videos are finished, because now while I'm doing these, I'm getting career videos ready. So when these 10 videos are finished, I'll upload some more career videos, because I'm not doing 3 months of a top 1,000 without any career videos. My channel's new. I need to get career videos coming on there. So I thought, well, while I'm doing these 10 videos, I'll get career videos ready. So when I've finished these 10, I'll start doing career videos and getting the next 10 top 1,000 ready. Then as soon as next 10 are ready, they come in unison. So that's what I'm doing. So just to allow all the playlists every month to keep building up a little bit. So while I rebuild my channel here. Any other kind of content is going to have to wait. It may come. There may be more, and it won't come yet. The priority is my top 1,000 and my career videos. Filling those playlists up, but I'm also thinking of a more shorter, sharp shock of doing fighter spotlights, do I call it? Not a big career video, but just other information. You know, like some fighters, what, you know, from the champions they beat, what weights were they champion in? You know, I mentioned De La Hoya earlier. You know, he beat champions who titled across multiple weights. He fought or beat rated fighters who fought across multiple weights. There are other information points there I can throw in to a little short, sharp shock. Hey, here's some, you know, you've seen the career video, here's additional information. So, but they're not going to come yet, they're going to come much later. Again, for those, everything on this channel now, there's going to be no plain backgrounds. If I do those, I'm going to design a nice slide, okay, to highlight those with picture, text or boxes or whatever I want to do. I'm going to create a nice slide for those, but not yet. For the next 6 months, I'm purely on top 1,000 doing career videos. That's my priority. But once the top 1,000 is finished and uploaded, I'm going to want something there, aside from career videos. So when I'm getting career videos ready, I can churn some. So that's what I'm thinking, fighter spotlights. You know, because I've got information on these fighters. I've got the record against rated fighters. I've got the record against rated fighters year they fought them. I've got lists of champions beat by weight. So I can list how many featherweight champions, lightweight champions, welterweight champions De La Hoya beat. I've also got record, not against the ring champion and top 10, but I've also got fighters' records against fighters. You know, like Floyd Mayweather or Pacquiao fought across multiple weights. So what is Mayweather's record against welterweights? What is his record against lightweights? What is his record against light middleweights? You know, what is Pacquiao's record against flyweights compared to his record against light welterweights or, you know, welterweights or lightweights, super featherweights. So I've got that information. So at some point I'm going to find a way to create like a fighter spotlight and throw some of these stats and information out there. So people will be able to see the basic career videos I'm doing. But then if they think, oh, I want more information on De La Hoya or Pacquiao, etc., or Ezad Charles, whatever, then the fighter spotlights will be there where you just get a little bit more broken down information. You know, using some information I'm not putting in career videos now, but including some other information I didn't put in the career videos, if you get me. So yeah, there'll be a good distraction and a good counterfoil to career videos I'm doing. So yeah, so anyway, I hope everyone is well. I'm really good. Really good. I got video. What video did I get today? Ready today? Just ruling. I got Ketchell's video ready yesterday. So yeah, I'm churning away. At some point, a minute I'm trying to stick to the 1890-1910 period, but at some point I'm just going to think, I'm just going to open floodgates. I'm just going to do fighters across any period. I'm trying to stick to my original plan, but it may get to a point where, you know, because I've got so many career files done already on fighters across periods that I could just really jump in and do anybody I want, but I'm trying to hold off on that for now. Anyway, I've babbled enough. So, going off topic of video, yeah, I'm going to try stop doing that on this channel. So, there's my latest 10 fighters on my top 1,000 countdown, 980, 971. Another video coming tomorrow, 970 to 961. And with that, I will simply say, big shout out to everyone in the chat. Always appreciate you. And I will get off. And I don't know whether I'm going to go on Forza Motorsport now. Oh no, Porsche Challenge doesn't open till tomorrow. Yeah, so I'll leave that, but I'll think something to it. Might chill out and catch up on Ukraine news. So anyway, I'm the boxing librarian. I'm out for now.